My name is Esther Gitau. My friends call me Gacheri, a name which I'd possibly look to adopt officially. But my mom called me Jerry when she gave birth to me. I was born in a very small family, a family of two kids, that is. Unfortunately, I lost my brother. I remember a very safe neighborhood. I remember us playing till possibly 10 p.m. until the rest of the kids could get called into their homes, and sometimes we'd sneak in their homes with them because my brother was very small, so I didn't have anyone to play with back there, and I knew it would be about giving food or just take up a responsibility, which I didn't want, given that I was a very jumpy kid. I remember being very close with my dad the first few years of my life. I remember he'd pick me up from school and we'd go to his office, and he was very proud he was very showy. He was very proud of me, that is. So he'd introduce me to all his friends and anyone who cared to listen, really. Until a certain point in life when things weren't so well with him and the wife. And yeah, that pretty much summed up our relationship, and it was a roller coaster from then. When I lost my brother, because death is something that happens to everyone else except you until you're visited by the angel. It's always something that's out there. A certain family, my aunt, or if it's very close, say a relative, a distant relative, but you never really realize the intensity or how much of a reality it is until it's right at your door. And why I'd say it's a definitive moment for me is because it broke and built so much at the same time, because I felt like I had disappointed him by not being able to be there for him in his last moments. In retrospect, not that I would have been there, because he was asthmatic and he got an attack in school, and there's nothing I really would have done about it. But at the moment, I felt like I had failed him, because growing up, my mom used to work a lot of night shifts growing up because she's in the medical field. And that would leave me and my brother at home. And every time he felt like he had an attack at night, he would wake me up and we'd go to hospital, or I'd give him his inhaler and we'd go back to bed and he'd be fine. So I always knew I was in control. Until this one time when I'm in class, I'm called, and a friend of mine tells me, "I'm really sorry about what happened," and I'm wondering, "What are you talking about?" And at that point he hangs up because he realizes I have no idea. So I call my mom, and my mom tells me, "Your brother is in hospital, something happened at night, but he's going to be okay." My mom is not the best at breaking bad news, so I don't know how long she thought she would shield me for. But then at that moment, I really felt like maybe if I had been there, then I'd have found a way to give him some sort of relief. And at that point, I started recounting or recollecting all the times when he had seemed like such a bother growing up. As a little kid, I think I'd come home from school and possibly mom had bought 10 apples and he'd eaten all of them, and I think, could we give you away? Or something as silly as that. And I recollected all those moments when I had possibly wished him away as a kid, or just done him wrong because I could and I was the elder one. And it really hit me. You only have so much time, and I don't know what's going to happen the next minute. So I only have this minute, and that's what I'm in control of. So what is it I'm doing about it? What is it I'm doing about letting the people who are in my life know how much they mean to me and how much I love them, not just in words, but in my deeds. I sank into depression for like a year, and I wouldn't go into the room. I didn't go into that room where he used to sleep for the whole year. I pretty much slept on the couch for the entire year, because just the thought of I'll go in and he's not there playing his video games or drawing up stuff, or he used to be a huge collector of the Guinness World Book of Record cards, and just seeing all that, those memoirs really felt like a poke. So I really avoided any discussions. If anyone asked me, how is your brother, and they didn't know he'd passed, I'd tell them he's fine. And if they asked, how old is he now, or where is he in school, I'd count the years in my head, and then I'd give them I'd do an estimate of where he'd be at that time, where I think he'd be. So for me, I think I lived in denial for a long time, for a really long time, and it really delayed the healing process, because I would never talk about it. I didn't know who to talk about it with, because growing up, we weren't accustomed to speaking out our feelings. It would be, I never really saw my mom vulnerable, neither did I see my dad. So I used to wonder where exactly, or who do I tell, and even if I do, what are they supposed to do about it? So I'd say for anyone who's coping with it, who's trying to cope with the same thing, possibly talking it out helps you deal with it a lot faster, because the more you want to block it off, the more it hurts, and it will possibly still hurt for a long time, but it gets to a point, if you talk about it, then it gets a bit lighter, and you can laugh about the memories you had, because now we laugh about some of the silly things he used to do with my mom, something I would not have done a couple of years ago. We celebrate birthdays, his birthday. We have just found a way to keep him alive amongst us. What makes me happy is seeing the people around me happy, not burdened by anything, because then it rubs off on me. Because I very easily pick up other people's frustrations, and I over sympathize, if that's a word, because it's not empathy, it's sympathy that's very demoralizing, so to speak. So what makes me happy is seeing other people around me and the people I care about happy. And just the simple things in life, like let's go out, grab a cup of coffee, let's go out and just see something we haven't seen before. Let's tour a place we just saw on the internet and find out if it's worth the fuss. Being able to get to where I am without necessarily having someone hold my hand to the very last, if that makes sense. In the sense, growing up, as a firstborn, you're always expected to be this, to be that, to be strong for this person or the other, to handle things because you're the eldest, to sort of forge the way forward. And for me, it was a struggle. I felt so much pressure growing up, because I knew between me and my mom, if I didn't do her proud, then that was it. I would be the laughing stock. And from my family, there's pretty much a lot of my younger relatives who look up to me, and so if I tripped, I'd be like, there's 1,001 people watching. So what makes me proud is just being able to hold ground even when it's sinking sand, but just to stand up and say, you know what, I tripped, but I'll rise up, I'll look forward, and I'll try again. What's the worst that can happen anyway? I've already fallen. So the much I can do is wake up, dust myself, and move forward. Because there's 1,001 people looking at you. So what do you want them to pick up? That once you fall, that's it? That everyone is looking at you and laughing, then what? So my proudest moment is just being able to hold ground when it's pretty much sinking sand around me.